All right. Good morning. We are live and welcome to On the Spot 947, where we sit down. We have a little tete-a-tete with some of the biggest and talented names in the arts, and equally those who are on their artistic journey in the hopes of influencing and changing the world. Yes, children, you can do that. Now, our guest for today is someone who is a 10-time Billboard magazine honoree. My goodness, to have a title like that. It just cements everything and validates whatever it is that you're doing. He is a singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, record producer, music engineer, and filmmaker, and who also happens to be the first cousin of one of our recent guests and a mellow favorite, Miss Joanne Lorenzana. Now, he's here to talk about his latest album that's called One Bus to Mercy, and it's an interesting title, I give you that, and one that deserves to be discussed and laid on the table, which is what we're going to be doing today on this episode of On the Spot 947. So let's give our guest a warm welcome here on Mellow. Good morning, Mr. Craig Abaya. Hello.
Good morning. How are you?
All right, I'm good. Welcome to On the Spot 947. Glad you can join us today.
Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. And like Joanne, you are joining us from the US of A, right?
Yep.
So what time is it over there?
Right now, it's a little after 8 o'clock, 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Okay, so it's good evening to you and good morning from us.
Absolutely. Yes. And it changes because, we have daylight savings time, so we switch.
Right,
so
right.
if you were to call me later in the year, it wouldn't be the same time difference.
That's right. Good thing we don't have daylight savings, and I get mixed up.
Hey, I get mixed up.
After you forgot to set your watch again. Okay, I'm late. Thank you, daylight savings. Oh, you're early.
Yes.
So, out of curiosity, is there a good time for you to work and write your songs? I mean, there are some singers who just cannot sing during the day, but when the evening comes in, they just let it rip. Or there are some writers who can write in the morning, get it out of the way, so that they'll have the rest of the day for life duties. So, how is it for you?
For me, it's all the time. I mean, the biggest challenge I have, and is especially when I have a band, is I hear all the parts at one time, and
Okay.
everything that I experience, like even the title of the album, One Bus to Mercy, it was something somebody said, and I wrote it down. I said, that's a great title for an album, you
Yeah,
know.
it is.
And so I don't really have any particular time, and sometimes I'll dream songs, and I'll get up and I'll rush for a notepad and a recorder, So no one particular time at all.
No one particular time. At one time, you did say that you were fortunate enough to be bombarded with ideas. I can imagine the worst scenario for an artist is to not have any ideas at all. That's like personal hell, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, but then if you get so many ideas, and if this one isn't happening right now, then you switch to one of the other ones.
Yeah, so it's like flicking on a switch,
Yeah.
toggling it back and forth. I was wondering, where do you find inspiration?
Just from everyday life. I mean, whatever, I hear, whatever I see, people. A lot of times it's people. Experience is with people. Sometimes great experience, wonderful experience, sometimes not so wonderful experiences. So
Yeah.
I think it was Sting who said, when he wrote Every Breath You Take,
Yeah.
that's the power of being a songwriter, is be careful if you mess with me because I'll make you famous. So yeah.
I'll
I have a
drop your
few-
name in the line of my songs and get nominated for a Grammy, and you'll be famous too.
That's right.
Yeah. I was wondering, where was the most fun? Where was the most fun time, or if not place, that you ever wrote a song?
Probably the I don't know about fun. I think it was on a plane. I
Okay.
was on an airplane flying 3,000 miles, and it was a particularly cold winter because we were flying into New York during the winter, and I happened to be with a person who was not very honest and was not somebody I trusted very much, and
Okay.
so I wound up sitting there writing about with all of these sort of icy. The pain of winter.
Yeah.
I think the opening lines were brisk as the wind is winter. My heart feels cold. As I plunge the depths of self deception, because I was just not letting on that I knew that I was being deceived.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, fun. I don't know, but it certainly was a memorable experience, and I was really happy with the lyrics. So
Yeah, I mean, experiences like that will always challenge you, and and force you to mine those emotions. And that wasn't the most fun. And my next question is actually, where was the most challenging place that you ever wrote a song? And I could, and that probably fits into that category as well.
I guess so. Well, you're a songwriter too, right? I hear you're a songwriter. Are you a songwriter?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Well, where's
And
the most
that's what
challenging
most of my
place
questions.
you?
So who's interviewing now? I guess for me, the most fun and the most challenging is when an idea comes to you in the middle of something that you're so busy with. One of that would be driving.
Yeah.
I just had to pull over and just record on my phone. And thank God for phones now that they
Oh
let us.
yeah. Siri. Yeah, Siri has been my best friend when it comes to song ideas.
Right, right. There you are. You're also a multi instrumentalist. So how many instruments do you play?
My primary instruments are guitar,
Mm,
piano, and I play a lot of drums and bass. It sometimes it's actually a lot more fun having a band, but other times you get all these ideas and you don't have time to give people
yeah,
calls.
yeah.
And
Right.
I think the most recent one was a friend of mine who was one of the founders of a fairly, I don't know if they're well known in the Philippines, but are you familiar with the Counting Crows?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so I called Matt because Matt
Nice.
said Matt was with Counting Crows, and I said, "Hey Matt, you've always loved this song." And here again, my wife is a lot of my inspiration, and my wife said, "Craig, I had a dream last night that you recorded the song Circles, which is on the new album, and Matt played bass on it." Well, Matt always claimed that was one of his favorite songs, but I never recorded it. So gave him a call and I said, "Can you lay down some bass for me down there?" He's in Southern California, and he said, "Yeah." And then my wife did the vocals, and then I did the rest of the instruments and the lead vocals, and so I really really enjoy getting together and having the band thing, but especially during COVID, it's so efficient to play multiple
Yeah,
instruments.
yeah, that's right. If COVID has taught us anything, and that is to multitask, in spite of the pandemic and being locked down and all that, and still get on with whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing in spite of it. And good thing
Yeah.
that technology allows us to do that. I keep this next question of most of my musical guests, and I've gotten some interesting answers. And if a singer songwriter cannot play any instrument, does that make him less of an artist or singer songwriter?
No.
In your
Abs-
books,
Absolutely not. I mean,
have you
I
ever
mean,
heard of anyone saying or saying, "Oh, you're like 80% because you can't play the guitar," or it's 75 because you don't play the piano?
well, it depends on who's saying it. I've heard a lot of songwriters be remorseful over themselves,
Okay,
over their non-musicality on an instrument. But it really doesn't. I think it really doesn't matter. And just like it does, people are going to say, "Well, you got to learn how to read notes." I said, "Anybody ever try to tell Paul McCartney to learn how to read notes?" Well, when he was younger, he refused. He actually
really?
refused to. Yeah, absolutely. And I've met Paul, so it's like I
Right,
know this
right.
story for sure. Yeah. So yeah, it's it basically the God given imagination is what it is, and sometimes limitations. And I think this is something that Paul McCartney and John Lennon understood was that the limitations, and I guess one way of putting it is sometimes when you're really really educated in something, you're limited by what you know. But
True.
if you
Yeah.
can get beyond that, then you're limited by what you don't know, right? So it's like I'm not limited at all, and so I don't really think so. Like Joanne has mentioned that I think in a recent interview that she doesn't really she'll sit down and play an instrument when she's writing a song, but she's not an instrumentalist,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
she's written some brilliant songs. So that's never been a problem for her.
Yeah, it's just really in a way a matter of perception. Glass half empty or glass half full,
Yeah,
right?
I'll drink it anyway. So
Right. And you said that most of your inspiration comes from your wife. So if you get a Grammy, she gets a Grammy too, right?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's kind of tough because I vote in the Grammys, so it's like, well,
There you
you
are.
know, I do vote for
Okay.
myself. But I'm
Yes.
kind of an under the radar type of artist. It's not something I'm really ever expecting. I've been
Hmm.
in the Grammy voting pool though. Didn't win last year, but it's nice
Oh
to
wow,
be
that's awesome.
recognized.
Yeah, the mere fact that you're nominated and you get to nominate other
Yes.
people as well. How did that process go about to be part of the voting committee or the
Well,
voting party?
part of it is being accepted into the Grammys and as a member,
Hmm.
and in order to vote, you have to have been with the Grammy Foundation, or not the foundation, but the Recording Academy for a certain number of years, and in addition, you have to have had, I think, a minimum of two published releases,
Okay.
and I guess that's mainly it. I mean, those are the only two requirements, really.
Wow. I would you know if you are the only Filipino voting member of the Grammy, or maybe not?
Oh, I'm sure I'm not. I mean, no, I'm sure I'm not. I'm sure I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Well,
convince.
Filipinos are everywhere, so it's not going to be a surprise. So yeah,
And I'm in San Francisco, so we've got Filipinos everywhere. I mean, this
there
is
you are.
a very Filipino-oriented part of the country.
Right, right. And if Bruno Mars is part of the committee, then that means you both are it. So and he's
Absolutely.
Filipino too. So okay,
Yeah, yeah. There you go.
yeah, we're everywhere.
Or Metallica, Kirk in
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Metallica. I mean,
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Your first album, called "The Fine Art of Politics," does encompass a lot of that politics. I mean, whether we care to admit it or not, or whether we are aware of it, politics is everywhere. That's in relationships, in the workplace, in the basic structures of friendships. Can you tell us something about the album and how the concept came about for that one?
The concept came about from my just thinking how much I dislike partisan politics. And in the United States, we have basically two main parties, and as you could see, I wrote that I came out with that album some time ago, and you could see there's been a lot of division in this country, and people have tried to me either on the left or the right have tried to get me going, and I said, you know what, we're in a period of tremendous destruction, and I think what we all need to start focusing on is becoming builders and not destroyers,
Yeah.
and and so this album preceded that era, and it was about not just again the politics. It's like you said, it's not just the politics of partisanship, which is basically an important part of that album, but it's even the politics that you play in everyday life and the politics that you play with yourself. So going back to that song that I wrote on the plane, the title is "Living the Lie," right?
Okay.
And so yeah, you're still playing. Whether you're living the lie intentionally or living the lie unintentionally, it's still kind of a form of politics.
Right,
So,
right. Or you're being asked to live a life because you're under duress, and that's also another form of politics.
absolutely, yes, yes,
Yeah, yeah. And if people still don't realize that there is indeed an art in navigating politics, then they need to open their eyes, not to mention their ears, and listen to your album a little bit more.
yes, yes. Please, thank you, thank you.
You also said that you had an affinity for Pete Townshend's music, who in turn was also an influence in Paul McCartney's own musical
Yes.
journey. And can you tell us a little bit more about that? And from what I gather, you said you did get the rare privilege of meeting and speaking with them about music. And gee, I know people want to know more about that.
Well, yeah. Well, first of all, Pete Townsend, he was pretty visionary back in the day, and yes, influenced Paul a great deal. He's, I think I mentioned that he he's the one that told Paul, you should like play all the instruments on your next album, on your first solo album, actually. And Paul has done it 3 times now. He's had
Yeah.
albums with Wings, but he's had 3 solo albums where he played everything, and it's because that was what Pete was already doing when he wasn't playing with the Who,
Hmm.
and but in terms of his vision as a songwriter, he predicted the web and social media and the problems with social media way back in was it 1971 is when the album Who's Next comes out, where he
Right.
talks about this futuristic society in which everybody's tapped into what he called the grid, where everybody got their information, where everybody got their entertainment. He even went so far as saying where everybody got their nourishment.
Yeah.
And in the story, people, the government takes it over and tries to control the people,
Right.
and there's a revolution, and in the end,
That
the
feels like the
last,
Matrix.
yeah, only written by a very young man in 1970 for a release in 71, and at the end of the album, you might be familiar with the song "Won't Get Fooled Again." It ends the album, and the people who revolt against the evil government succeed, and the last words of the song are "Meet the new boss, same as the old boss." And it's like I just got chills because it's like, isn't that the truth? You know?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Very apt of a word that you call him a visionary. Who would have thought that, moving forward to what we have now, that's basically what it is. The internet is the grid, and it has changed our lives, made it better, or maybe made it worse for some people who prefer old school in the way that we consume entertainment these days. Who would have thought that streaming was a thing back in the '90s, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I will admit that I'm very much guilty because my involvement in technology. Because I mean, here in the Bay Area, I mean, I'm connected to Apple and Facebook, and I mean,
Yes, you
I
are.
could walk to YouTube. YouTube's that way. I mean, that we live in the middle of it, and
Nice.
years ago, I ran programs at the university on how to develop websites and looking at usability and analyzing the way the human mind worked. And it's not because I wanted to control people, but because it was inevitable. She must have been my fifth cousin, and of course in the Philippines I would call her my aunt, my tita. But
Yeah.
my aunt, same name as my mom, actually, Elizabeth Lorenzana, was a
Right.
professor in broadcasting at UP.
Okay.
And I bought 2 copies of Time magazine that year when she was visiting us. And this is like 1994, 95, and I gave her 1 copy, and it was about the information superhighway. And I said, Auntie, someday we're all going to be watching TV on the computer. And I didn't know about the iPhone yet, right? And I
Right.
said, and so this is something we need to be paying attention to because you're in broadcasting. You're a professor in broadcasting at the University of the
Right.
Philippines. I think it's really important. So I thought it was inevitable, and I also am I'm definitely a geek, a technology geek. So it was also exciting, but there is also the downside.
Agree. Agree. Look at the shirt that I'm wearing. Look at that.
Hey, you
See?
wore that just for me, didn't you?
No, I
Thank
didn't know.
you.
It's like, how apt is that? So
It's perfect. It's perfect.
yeah.
You're a visionary.
Oh, I wish I was as visionary as you and as same as Pete. Jenny said something like that your father, or is it your lolo, your grandfather, was with MacArthur in
Yes.
the Leyte landing.
Yes.
So which is it? Your lolo then?
No, it was actually my father.
Your dad. Okay.
My father. There's a big gap between myself and my older brother,
Okay.
and my father has since passed away. But my dad he's in some of the films where you see Douglas MacArthur actually trudging across the water.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But the more interesting thing, because not everybody knows my dad, is how that came about. First of all, I asked my dad when I was a little kid, Daddy, how did you get in that? And he said, oh, the first guy got too wet. It was a total photo op. And as it turns out, they were not supposed to wade across the water onto the beach
Oh, okay.
because landing barges go all the way up to the sand.
Yeah.
But it broke down.
There you
And Douglas MacArthur was incensed that he had to trudge across the water. But once the media took over, it became such a compelling and popular image that he then commanded every barge to stop in the water so they could wade onto the beach after that. But it shows that, PR is just as important as, a tank
Yeah, yeah,
in,
that's right.
in
That's
a,
right. Marketing is everything these days.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, you can have a questionable product, but if your marketing skills are top notch, then people won't be able to notice that, or if they do, they're willing to overlook it.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
Let's see. Let's say good morning to some friends keeping us company today on the show for on the Spot 947. Of course, Jenny is with us.
Hi, Jenny.
Yeah. Finally, power is back on.
Sister Jenny.
Tristan Matthew Ong, good morning to you. Gloria Villegas
Hi.
and Kiel Marcelo, good morning, but good evening to you, she says.
Good morning to all of you.
Myron Jenkins.
Hey, Myron.
Yeah.
Myron played with me on The Fine Art of Politics.
Oh, nice.
He's
nice.
a bass player was the bass player for Carlos Santana.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Phenomenal. You're phenomenal, glad to see you're online.
He's based in Seattle, right? Yeah,
Are you in Seattle now?
That's what he says. Hello from Seattle.
Oh.
They're all SF pal here. So
Oh, okay. Well, cool. Last I remember you were in San Jose. But yeah. Hey, Myron. Thank you for joining, man.
Deborah Lee, Aaron Fort.
Hello. Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, Deborah Lee, up in Sonoma County.
Yeah, there you go. Says Craig is
Thank
awesome. All caps. Big fan. Senny Gasman also says hi.
My cousin up in Ontario, the Toronto area of Canada.
Oh, okay.
So way back east from where I am. Thank you, Senny.
Right.
Thank you, cuz.
Oh, it's cold there.
Yeah.
And it's cold there, and it's hot and tepid here. So it's like, okay, way to go.
And I'm in the temperate zone, so we run the gamut.
Sheila Norton says hi as well.
Oh, hi, Sheila. Thank you. God bless you for being here. Thank you.
Nice. So many people joining us today, and going back to Paul McCartney and Pete Townsend, that experience is certainly one for the books, and I'm sure if you can replay or repeat that, put it on pause. You would do that. Any artists who come to mind that you feel that I will work with you in a heartbeat?
Well, I would work with Paul or Pete in a heartbeat.
That's a given.
And another famous artist who's also been his main inspiration is Pete Townsend is Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam, who I've worked with, but funny enough, not as a musician. I worked with him on a film, on some film work.
Okay.
Yeah, but he is a huge Pete fan. I'd love to work with him in a musical setting sometime.
Oh, that'll be awesome. Wait, you are also in film, as you said, because you're an established filmmaker. You're also a member of the Producers Guild of America.
Yeah.
And you've worked with, as you said, Pearl Jam. There's Elton John, Janelle Monáe. And how different was that, or surreal of an experience with it to direct yourself in a music video?
Well, directing myself, it's a little bit hard, but I put up monitors so I get the composition right,
Okay.
Too much headroom, too little headroom, whatever.
Right.
It's nice if I could have somebody on the other side of the camera to tell me, yeah, do it again, My first music video,
left, right, or whatever.
yeah. I mean, my first music video, which actually I pulled because I'm going to re-release it maybe sometime this year, was a song that I wrote at the piano, and it was actually really a popular song in the Philippines, at one point, and I had to act at the beginning.
Which song is this?
It's a song, "Silly Sentimental Fool."
Ah, yes, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I had to act this scene with a girl at the beginning who, funny enough, is also a producer in LA. She works on a lot of true crime shows.
Okay.
And so she was my my co-star in it. And I'm not an actor. I mean, I can direct, and I could particularly direct people who aren't actors because most
Yeah.
musicians are not actors. And my daughter, who is an actress. So, but myself, I'm not an actor. I mean, and so what I did is I invited a SAG, a Screen Actors Guild actor who I knew, to get on the other side of the camera and really give it to me, and tell me,
Okay.
a little too much, little, whatever, and that helped a lot.
Yeah. Either smile more or give me more scowl.
That's right. That's right.
Either of the two. Those are two choices. Leland says hi from UAE. There's
Hi,
also
Lele.
Virginia
Hi.
Amerling. Virginia Amerling says hello.
Hi, Virginia.
Yeah. Magensia or
Oh,
Magen?
Mahencia, my cousin also.
Oh,
Hensi,
Mahensa. Hensi. Okay. All
up
right.
in Canada, another Canada on the east
Another
side.
Canadian.
Because
My,
Joanne's sister and her family, who I'm very
yes.
close to, are on the west side of Canada. So that's
Okay.
why I'm specifying.
All right. Myron
Thank you,
says that you
guys.
guys did a video on Halloween pranks at SF State.
I did?
Yeah. Or is it that's why he's there in Seattle?
Well, who's saying this?
Myron.
Oh,
Myron thinks
Myron.
yeah,
Yes,
Myron.
Myron. Myron and his brother are actors
Okay.
up in the Pacific Northwest. They've worked. I know you guys worked with Dana Carvey, and
Oh,
when I
cool.
was still in college, she's talking about we did a comedy sketch for a show. That's right. And it was Halloween based. I forgot it was Halloween time, but yeah, we were talking about the dangers of accepting candy from just anybody. So yeah. Hey,
You got
Myron.
you got to miss Halloween. So
Yeah, that's right.
hopefully things will be better this year, and most people will get to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, your new album is called One Bus to Mercy. And so this is mean if you don't get on the bus, you're not forgiven. You
Yeah.
don't get this sort of clemency. What's going on?
Well, I guess that's kind of an interesting way of looking at it. Well, the funny thing is the genesis of the title. What is really interesting because I was again talking to my wife, and
There you
she
are.
and she is not my only inspiration, by the way. You know,
Okay.
but we were talking about the high school she went to when we growing up, and it was a high school in San Francisco called Mercy.
Okay.
And she said, "Well, it was easy for me to get to high school because it was just one bus to Mercy." And I said, "Oh, that's it. That's the
That's pretty
title of
cool.
my next album because there's also a spiritual comment. It's not, you know, I don't want to say that I really isn't like, yeah, well, there's only one bus if you don't get on it. It's more like there is mercy. And it also not just mercy to receive, mercy to provide, to give,
Yeah.
to other people.
Right. Right. Oh, that's a great title.
Thank you.
How many tracks are in the album?
I don't know, 12, I think. I think 12. I've written like a couple hundred songs, so it's like it's hard to keep track because there's 16, yeah, on the other album. So 12. This one's 12, I believe.
How do you determine how many tracks do you want? I mean, is there like it's like an odd number, even number kind of thing going on when you say like, okay, an album should be 10. And again, similarly back to the question of being able to play an instrument. If an album only has 8 tracks, does that like mean less of an album?
Well, there's so many different things. I was wondering something kind of funny related to that the other day. Is back in the day they called the full albums LPs,
Yes, long playing albums.
and then the middle one was called an EP, right? Extended play.
Yeah.
So why weren't 45s called SPs, short play? But no, they were always called 45s.
Yeah, right,
And they
right.
were called singles, but there were 2 songs, one in each. Anyway, I know I
You know,
digress.
I think the mathematician had something to do with it, so I don't know.
That's it. Yeah. But and the kids are so into vinyl right now. My daughter has her record player and she's listening. She's collecting vinyl records, which are like,
I know it's like everything's making a comeback. I mean, I won't be surprised if cassettes make a comeback.
I've heard something like that, but come on, cassettes.
Yeah, no, 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 not good. I mean, I'd rather have CDs make an official comeback than cassettes. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Where do you stand on that? I take it that you're more for the CD than digital. Oops, hold on. I was gonna
You
play
know,
your.
that's unfamiliar.
Yeah.
You know what? There's a famous artist who I've worked with a lot, and I won't name his name,
Okay.
but was totally all
Most probably it's
for
Voldemort.
what's that? I'm sorry.
Most probably it's Voldemort.
Yeah,
Cannot.
Voldemort. No, 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 no. And and was really, really, posing the argument about the highest quality.
Yeah.
And yes, I love the highest quality, but to me, my focus is on the highest passion, the highest performance. It's
Okay.
like, and I don't mean perfectionism, because perfectionism can often be very boring. Yeah, that you might as well have the computer do it for you then, right? I mean,
Right.
there's a
Right.
feel, and and I wanted to ask this person, well, did you listen to like the Beatles when you were a kid, or Chuck Berry when you were a little kid? And they'd say, yeah. And what did you listen to them on? It was probably some cheap little deck. And I said, well, so wasn't the quality of the recording that was a big deal and influenced you to become this famous artist, right? It was something else. And I think my concern always is like, yes, digital, everything is ones and zeros, right? Unless you're really into quantum mechanics, it's all ones and zeros. But still, there's something that's being conveyed through those ones and zeros that I think is far more important, than the quality. Um, you know,
As long as you get your message across, it doesn't really matter in what form it comes out in, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I like CDs. I like downloads. I like vinyl. I like tape. Not 8-track though, because you remember 8-track? Were you around for 8-track?
I never had an 8-track player, but I can imagine the challenges that it poses these days. If in case you still want to have that or resurrect one that you have in your home.
Yeah, my mom had one, and in the middle of the tape, it would change. In the middle of the song, it would change to the side two, or whatever it was. It's like that's a difference. That's a
Yeah,
difference.
yeah, that's a
You
little
know.
different. Wait, let us give our listeners a sample of the single that you have. It's called "Regret,"
Oh
which
yeah.
is yeah from that from your current album, "On the Bus to Mercy." And let me just.
Forfeit what you've got. Walk away from your life. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. That's what they say. So you emptied out your life of your wrongs and your rights. Trying to wipe away a life of regret. Chasing after your lost youth, still ignoring so much truth. You abandoned what you had for so long. Filled from thinking you were so right, you replaced your whole life with the same disregard. You regret. Could it be that my mere presence cast a shadow on your charade? And so you consider me a threat. Do you ever look in the mirror? Do you ever face the truth? Or just hide
That's the message right there. We hide behind the illusion.
Thank you.
What do you wanna,
I just finished the music video for that one, by the way.
oh, you
That
did? Oh, great,
that'll
great,
be
great.
out next month in June.
Oh, awesome, awesome. And of course, it'll be there on your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
That people will be able to listen to see that. I had Santana vibes when I first heard the song. I was like, okay, is Carlos Santana coming in? Because the guitar plucking and all that was that intentional to make it sound like that, or it just happened?
No, it's you're just basically influenced by everything you ever hear, and you don't necessarily know what influenced you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I was thinking of I was feeling more of a film noir type of vibe.
Okay.
Picture like an old movie in black and white where there's maybe a detective,
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to
yeah.
solve a murder, that kind of thing.
Right, right. Is that how the video is gonna turn out?
No,
A little more.
it's funny because I do have another video that I've been wanting to do. That is going to be like that, but this one is I played all the instruments on the song, so it's basically me playing all the instruments.
Okay. Multitasking, in short.
That's right. I just got to be really fast.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It'd be like an octopus and grow, several more tentacles and play all at the same time.
Hey,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. The image does sound like or look like Disney, right? So why not? Go to. If you're a Disney
Hey,
kid, why not?
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. Good luck on the video. We can't wait to see it.
Thank
And
you, thank you.
good luck on the album as well. More people need to hear it and to know more about it. Now, if people want to follow you on social media, where can they find you?
You could just go to facebook.com/my name, Craig Abaya. And
Okay.
you could, or you could just search me out. You can Google, or Yahoo. I don't want to be biased, so whatever you want to do. A lot of my crew work for Google, so it's like,
Okay.
But you could do Yahoo too, or somebody
Yeah.
else.
Whatever browser kicks your goat, then
That's right. That's
that
right.
should be the one that you go to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No hate, all love.
Yes.
And also, like most music these days, they obviously can listen to you on Spotify, also on Apple Music and all other digital music retailers, right?
Yes. Spotify, Apple Music, gosh, you name it. Yeah. Fortunately, and then if you
Everything.
actually do like CDs, physical
Mhm.
CDs, then
There you are.
Amazon has it on CD as well as download or streaming. So
All right. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much, Craig, for spending time with us today.
thank you.
And I wish you well, and I wish you more albums in the future.
Thank you.
And like what you said, whether it comes out in vinyl, whether it comes out in CD or digital, as long as you put the music out, and as long as you give in to that passion, and hope that your passion, ignites and enkindles someone else's passion, and continues on, and the wheel continues on, and the flow of creativity and productivity continues on, then as a musician, and then as an artist, that you've done your job right.
Amen. Thank you so much. I
Thank
want to
you
hear
so-
your stuff sometime.
Yeah, I'll we'll talk off air.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
everybody. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining in. And shout out to my first cousin, my sister, Joanne Lorenzana, who
There
you
you
had
go.
recently. And love you and hope to do more work with you in the future. Take care.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, me and Joanne have yet to speak about collaboration, but yeah, hopefully something like that
All
comes
right.
up. So thank you once again, Craig. You take care over there. This has been Kaz for On the Spot 947. Till the next edition, we shall be on the lookout for the next artist that we shall be putting on the spot. So keep it right here. All hits, Mellow 947. Sounds good. Bye.
Thank you. Take care.